All right, good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday evening. David Paul here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. It's time for the Tropical Update. We do this every night at 9 o'clock. We're going to begin tonight with a look back at the 25th anniversary of not the landfall, but the flood that Tropical Storm Allison in June 2001 put on Houston. This storm has a lot of memories for me. I was filling in for Doc that night. I was there to cover the storm all night. I had an intern in the office named Jeff Linder. He was a student at Texas A&M at the time, and he did such a wonderful job keeping me up with the rain totals, where the heaviest rain was falling. And then, of course, you may recognize the name Jeff Linder. You may know Jeff. He went on to be the first meteorologist ever to be hired by Harris County Flood Control. He's that good. So, hey, Jeff. Fun times, huh? And then, of course, we all went through Harvey together as well. We're going to look at Harvey in comparison to Allison here as we move along. Let's start with Allison. Allison formed as a weak to moderate tropical storm just kind of off the coast of Texas one morning, June 4th and 5th. Jeff and I were looking at it. There was no tropical advisory on it. It had just been a weak little wave, but that morning, doing the morning show at the time, we were looking at it going, that looks like a tropical storm is forming, and sure enough it did. It formed that afternoon and came inland. So there it is coming inland on the 5th of June. And it did cause some flooding on a couple of watersheds as it moved through. And it went on to the north and stopped. So what you had meteorologically was an area of high pressure sitting to the north, and it bumped into that high pressure dome. Think of that as a mountain of air, that high pressure. So it bumped into the mountain. The storm will not climb the mountain. It will stop. And then that high sank south, and it pushed the storm back down. I say the storm. At this point, it's just remnants. It's not even a tropical storm at this point. 5th, 6th, the 7th of June. Here it is on the 8th. That's the night we flooded. There it is on the 9th, and then it exited. So the night of the 8th was the bad one, and the early morning of the 9th. That was the bad times for Allison, who ended up putting down, I want to say we had a 36-inch rain total bullseye right here in northeast Harris County. What I want you to notice about the track is the loop-de-loop. It comes up with the little circle, the little loop-de-loop back on itself as it was pushed south by that high. So when we look at Harvey's track, which came along in 2017 and gave us an even bigger flood, came in as a Cat 4 hurricane to Corpus Christi, weakened rapidly, and a mountain of high pressure was just sitting to the north. It was just bad luck. You know, there's nothing special about Harvey except that it bumped into a mountain of air and got stalled and did a loop-de-loop, as Allison did, and then ejected off eventually to the east. But like Allison, who when it looped back, it was sitting to the west of Houston, Harvey sitting to the west of Houston, that puts us on the wet side, the dirty side of the big counterclockwise rotation around these systems. And that's why those two storms flooded us. They were blocked by high pressure, so they slowed down and took days to exit the area, and they were both positioned to the west of Houston. It was interesting because when Allison hit, we had 36 inches in Harris County, and the write-up on it was off the charts, never going to happen again. And then in 16 years later, in 2017, not only did it happen again with Harvey, but the rain totals were 10 to 20 inches higher. The Atlantic names: Arthur, Bertha, Cristobal, Dolly, Edward, the first few on the list. Really don't see anything that's about to become the first storm out there right now. Quick reminder of the forecast for about an average or maybe a little bit below average season. Colorado State forecasting 13, normal is 14. We had 13 storms last year. So really maybe a smidge below normal because of an El Nino, but also we've got warmer than normal sea surface temps in the Atlantic. That may raise the count. So put the two together, El Nino has a little bigger suppressive factor than the sea surface temps. Tropical satellite, very quiet in the Gulf. Kind of looks like there's clockwise flow, so there's ridging here, there's sinking air, nothing forming there. Hurricane center as of this evening, no development expected in the Gulf, Carib, or the open Atlantic for the next 7 days. That being said, we are going to have some tropical influences. So yesterday at this time, we had Tropical Storm Boris and Tropical Storm Christina sitting right here. We still have Christina. Christina is a tropical storm. Boris, I left it circled. It's no longer a storm. It has fizzled. You've just got remnant moisture of what was Boris. But it's interesting, the modeling is grabbing a lot of moisture from Christina and bringing it across Central America and into the Gulf. So the storm itself is not going to come into the Gulf, but the moisture is. There's the remnants of Boris. Here's Christina, still a minimal tropical storm. Winds in Christina are 40 miles an hour, so it's barely a tropical storm. It's interacting with the Central American landmass. It's going to put down a bunch of inland rain here, Guatemala and Honduras, and then dissipate over the next day or two. But a bunch of the moisture is going to make its way up and into the Gulf, and we think eventually that moisture is going to give us this rain chance going into the weekend here in Houston. This is going into Wednesday. There's what's left of Christina making landfall and the circulation beginning to dissipate. And then look at the moisture that comes in. So the moisture does come across and into the Gulf, but it looks like really just the moisture, not a whole lot of rotation showing up on modeling. Every now and then a model will try to cut off a very weak, disorganized low down here. And it's not out of the question we could have a low form here in the southwestern Gulf, but nothing significant showing up on modeling. What this does show is a bunch of moisture headed for the Texas coast. So Friday, it's still out here. Saturday, we get the sea breeze with increased rain and thunder activity with the moisture coming in. And then Sunday, we do it again. Increased rain activity with the moisture pushing in. Let me show you a little closer view of this. So tropical moisture, there's the leading edge of the deep tropical moisture. So anything in the dark green, good chance for rain. We're not in that on Friday, so we stay warm and humid Friday, an isolated shower Friday. But watch what happens Saturday. We get firmly into the green across the Texas coast. That's Saturday afternoon. So because of that, we're going to raise rain chances from 20% Friday to 60% on Saturday. We're not going to wait. I think that leading edge does kick off quite a bit of rain Saturday. And here it is. Only slight rain chances Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 20%. But Saturday with that moisture coming in, 60% chance for scattered thunder showers Saturday, the sea breeze in the afternoon. Sunday, we'll reload the sea breeze in the afternoon. Monday and Tuesday, keep daily rain chances going. So look, if you're going to Fan Fest for the soccer games down in Edo, it's an open air event. Expect not only the heat, with heat indexes up above 100, but a good chance for rain and thunderstorms. Could be some lightning and thunder with this as well. I think there will be some lightning and thunder. Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, Monday and Tuesday, and going forward. So plan accordingly, working, playing, or going to watch the games, or going to Houston Stadium, which is NRG, but that's where the games are going to be held. So if you're going to go there, you're going to go to Fan Fest, expect the heat and then the rain Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's where we stand. We have a live update on KHOU 11 News at 10. We'll see you then for our next live broadcast.